Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. I'll be presenting now the Asian Session Live Market Analysis and the Forecast webinar on 14th of October between 5 and 5:30 GMT. On 11th of October, I gave the forecast for this particular week. It was actually session-wise forecast. Each of the 3 sessions of the day, how exactly the market is expected to behave. And also I have given the range in which the currencies are expected to make swings. So now we are going to review the forecast, what I have given it, to find out where exactly the market stands, whether it is moving in line with it of the expectations or against, so that we'll be able to understand how exactly we have to take appropriate trading decisions and also use the trading strategy effectively in order to consistently earn money from the market. So the 3 components I'm going to explain to you: the derived forecast, then followed by that of the market reading technique, and for today how exactly the market is expected to behave we are going to study. Then also I'll be explaining about the trading strategy, how we can use the trading strategy to limit the risk and maximize the profit. Now, as far as the forecast is concerned, I was explaining on 11th of October that the market is expected to make the sideways and the slide moves till Wednesday, and slowly they are expected to rise and drop during that of the European session yesterday, and then firm up during that of the US session. So they have been holding all along near that of the low. After that of the brief upward move on Monday, then they started making the slide and continue to make the slide in the case of GBP and nominally in the case of Euro, and they are holding at the lowest level. And today we are on Friday, they are expected to make the swing and rise during that of the European Japanese session, followed by that another rise during that of the European session, and then firm up during that of the US session. These are all the expected moves. And when you look into that of the live market quote page, we come across that they are showing negative net change of 30 pips in the case of Euro and 60 pips in the case of GBP. And Australian dollar is showing positive net change of 13 pips. And in the case of denominator currencies, wherein the currencies are in the denominator of the ratio, USD is showing about 37 pips positive net change, and USD CHF is showing about 15 pips positive net change, and Canadian dollar USD CAD is showing about 15 pips positive net change. So here you come across overall, in the case of majors, they are showing the USD gaining move, but in the case of the commodity pairs, they are showing the contrarian move. USD CAD is showing positive net change, indicating USD gaining move. Australian dollar is also showing positive net change, indicating USD weakening move. So actually the players are just trying to handle the crosses before trying to be very active in the case of the majors during the course of the day. The next week, again, they are expected to make the trending move, that is swing and rise move, could be visible next week in the case of Euro and GBP. And what they have done in this particular week on the sideways move, they dropped GBP more. As a result, you come across that it has created a bearish feel in the market. It has created a bearish feel in the market. And so everybody is thinking that any rise is a good sell opportunity in the case of Euro and GBP. And actually for that of the non-farm payroll, when it was less than expected, they gained the levels in the case of GBP quickly. And also during the week beginning, they gained it to 1.24, and then subsequently they started making the slide, then which has created the confusion. Now, if you look into that time frame, there's going to be US election next month. So obviously the players will lie low before that of the elections because they do not want to be caught at the wrong side. So they will try to lie low and try to make nominal moves in the market without making any significant one-sided upward or the downward move. So we could come across till the election time, the market is expected to make sideways move. Nominal gains might be seen, but they may not be able to hold at a high level, and they will try to slide again and make the swings around these levels till the US election gets over. Now, in the case of euro, the levels in which they are expected a swing, they estimated mathematically estimated low as 1.1175 level, but they came down to 1.10985 as an extended downward move, and then they are holding around that 1.102524 level. Similarly, in the case of GBP, the estimated low was 1.24, but they suddenly made that drop to 1.21 and then reversed it, and they are expected to slowly gain it to 1.24 by next week. And in the case of yen, 102.25 was the expected low, and they came down to 102.90. The high was 104.25, and they went up to 104.63, and then they are holding around that of 104. And today, slowly, they are expected to firm up and then make brief upward stop and then start making the slide, inducing euro and GBP to go up. Then, in the case of CHF, 97.72 was the 25 was the expected low, but they came down to 97.72, and 99.52 was the expected high. They went up to 99.10. And in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.30350 was the expected low, but they came down to 1.3164, and 1.3350 was the expected high. They went up to 1.3307 and started making the slide again, currently holding around 1.32. And in the case of Australian dollar, the expected low was 75.75, but they came down to 75.07, and the high estimated the high they just set as 76.12, and they are expected to go above this and went up to 76.70 or 77 area during the course of this day. So you come across in the case of euro and GBP, they made more drop when compared to that of the estimated lows. But in the case of yen, USD, CHF, they made almost the same levels of moves. And in the case of Canadian dollar, they just made more of a sideways move and they did not make further drop. And in the case Australian dollar also, they made little more drop than that of 75.75, about 70 pips, and then started gaining the level, and 75.86 they have come to, and slowly they are expected to gain the levels during the day. So we could come across that the market could make range bound moves till US elections, because the players will lie low and they will not make vulnerable moves in the market before the elections. And so we can only expect the sideways move and a little bit of swings here and there, or spikes and things like that, but it will not be sustained. So keep in mind that we can only do swing trades till elections by November 2nd week. Now these are all the initial lows and the highs set for today. 1.1041 was the initial low. They just breached the initial low, came down to 1.1024, and holding around, they stopped cutting the new low for more than 30 minutes, indicating that it is an extended downward move in order to gain the levels above that of the high during the session. Then in the case of GBP, 1.2218 was the initial low, but they came down to 1.2193 and holding around 1.2199, and again it is an extended downward move. They are holding below that of 2218 for more than 30 minutes, indicating that it is an brief extended downward move before making the rise and firm up during that of the European and the late Japanese, European, and the US sessions. And in the case of yen, 103.61 was the initial low, 103.97 was the initial high. Then they did not breach the low, but they breached the high and went up to 104.14 and holding around 104.12 as an extended move, stop cutting the new high, and they are likely to come down below that of 103.97 and trigger the market to come down. So initially what they will do when Euro and GBP are gaining, they will hold USD yen at a higher level in order to gain levels in the case of yen crosses, and later on drop yen, USD yen. As a result, Euro yen and GBP yen will make slide after that of the gain. Then in the case of CHF, 98.57 is the low and 98.79 is the high now, and the initial high was 98.70. They went up 9 pips above and they are still holding it as an extended move. Then in the case of Canadian dollar, 31.85 is the low that is not being breached, and 32.11 is the high. They just breached it and went up to 32.15 and come down, indicating that they wanted to come down after a brief upward stop and try to breach the low during the course of the day. Then in the case of Australian dollar, 75.43 is the 75.57 is the initial low and that is not being breached, and 76.03 is the initial high. They breached the high and went up and then come down. 75.83 is the current level. So we have to find out whether it is a stop and or they intend to gain levels later on. So depending upon the USD CAD move, now they are handling the commodity crosses by showing contrarian move. Afterwards, we'll be able to find out whether they are making the USD gaining or the USD weakening move in the case of commodity crosses, commodity pairs. Now the recommended trades, I just kept the buy limit order at 1.1042, the initial low, and now they have filled it, and 1.1010 is the initial is the stop or sell stop. That is the hedge order to limit the risk, and 1107 is the take profit level. You can just take current level also a buy position and wait for the market to go up, because they have stopped getting the new low for more than 30 minutes and still holding near that of the low. Then in the case of GBP also, they have filled it 22.18 and came down to 21.93, and 21.70 is the hedge order I have placed, and it is expected to go up during that of the late Japanese and the European session. Then we will be able to get that order filled 22.90 area. Then in the case of Aussie, 75.70 is the buy limit order. They are around that of 75.83 now. When they make a small dip, we will get the fill, and 76.45 we can take profit. 74.40 we can keep the hedge order to limit the risk. So the buy and sell trades are recommended in the case of the numerator currencies, and in the case of denominators, during that of the European session, we can just take sell position in the case of USD and USD CHF, and then they will start making the slide there, and we can quickly put profit. Now these are all the session timings of the day. So each day is divided into 3 sessions: Japanese, European, and the US sessions. And in between the sessions, you come across the gap time, and also between sessions, between the day, you come across 4 hours of gap time. And now by end of this month, 30th of October, daylight saving system will be off in Europe. Then from that time onwards, you will come across from Monday, following Monday, 31st onwards, there will be the shift in that of the session timings, 30 minutes in the case of Japanese session and 1 hour in the case of European session. Then US also will switch off the daylight saving time from 6th of November. Then afterwards, you'll come across from 7th of November, the US session will start by 14:30 GMT and end by 21:30 GMT. I'll give the session timings during that time, change over time, and accordingly you can follow those timings and then try to trade following the session-wise swings. So I will come back on 17th of October and give the forecast for the next week, that is Monday. And 19th, I'll be giving the 4 hours of tracking the Forex market together webinar. I'll track the market before you and show you how exactly we can just take the appropriate trading decision and take the profit. Using the hedge, we limit the risk and do either way trades if it is hedged, and then try to take profit by taking appropriate trading decision, following the type of moves the players do it in the market. Now, if you've got any questions, you can ask me the questions and I'll be willing to answer those questions. And some of the traders have personally asked me to give what could be the possible moves in the case of gold also. So currently gold is trading around 1,256 area. It is likely to set the low as 1,253 and then go up to 1,267-69 level during the course of the day. If there is any other question, I am willing to answer those questions. So today they are expected to make the swing and rise move during that of the Japanese session. They are making the lower level swing and slowly they stop cutting the low, indicating that they have just done the extended downward move for 2 hours, and then later on they are expected to gain above that of the initial low, start gaining the levels in the case of Euro and GBP and also in the case of Australian dollar. And then during that of the European session, we could come across some nice gains happening in Euro and GBP. At that time, USDN and USD could make a downward move, giving the trigger for the market to make the USD weakening move. Then afterwards, slow swing and firm move could be seen during that of the US session. Next week, 17th to 21st, the monthly trending move is expected to happen, and they are expected to show the swing and rise move during that of the week. But again, because of the US elections and less volume condition, you could come across the market making more of a sideways move, a little bit of gains, etc. Now, these are all the levels by which they are expected to make the swings, and slowly Euro and GBP came down below that of the expected level and they are trying to recover it. It could be an extended downward move to make another 100-150 pips on the higher side above that of the high set by next week. And USDN could visit again 102 and then swing between 102 and 104 during this particular time frame. These are all the initial lows and the highs set for the day. and they are likely to go above that of the initial low by late Japanese session and start a recovery in the case of Euro and GBP. These are all the recommended trades for their session and also for the day. You can try it in a demo trading platform and find how exactly it works. So I'll come back on 17th of October, Monday, and give you the forecast for the next week. And also on 19th, I will give you the once a month tracking the Forex market together webinar. I take this opportunity to thank FX Street for the facilities provided to present the webinar, and you people for your kind presence and understand the market strength from time to time depending upon the market volume, and accordingly try to decide on whether you can do a swing trade or a position trade. Until end of election, US election, we are likely to get some swing moves only in the market. So watch for that and try to do only the swing trades to capture the profit when visible, and later on you can do more trades. So wish you all happy weekend and also happy trading. See you on Monday with the new forecast for the next week.